Hello?
Hey, Miss Fancy Lady. I don't know what you're trying to sell me, but you can just go ahead and leave your little Watchtower magazine, because this really ain't a good time right now. My son's coming in a minute now.
Harry.
Harry, how you know my first name? What's the suitcase for?
Dad, I'm your daughter, Desiree.
Jasmine?
No. It's Desiree. I've always been Desiree. Clearly, we have a lot of catching up to do. May I come in?
Yeah, come on in.
Oh boy. So let's dive right into this one. So a video right now is apparently going viral because it's showcasing a father taking his son to the prom. And on top of that, his son is dressed like a girl. And one of the first things that keeps in my mind is like, I imagine Dwayne Wade is mad as hell because that was his viral moment taken away for him taking his son, or like he wanted to refer to it as his daughter, to the prom. Because I can imagine this time next year, his wife, Gabby Union, is plotting a big event for that particular moment. I guarantee you this, knowing those two. But anyway, so as you see here, the father comes to pick up his son, and let's say I'll comment on it afterwards.
My husband surprised his son by taking him to the prom.
Don't mess up that makeup, gather. Look down, let him cry. Oh, he's crying. Oh my God. Oh, you made him cry. Wait. Let him fall on the floor. Let him fall. Let him fall on the floor. Oh, poor baby. Oh. Hold on.
Yeah, so a few things here. One, this seemed, I don't want to say staged, but it seemed somewhat contrived. Because, first of all, we're in the middle of March, and kids are just getting off from spring break. So they're not going to the prom. But, that's social media nowadays. Basically, it's mostly about just putting something out there that can be considered outrageous and, get people to react and comment, which I'm obviously doing right here, right now. But unlike most people, off in the, that's in the comment section of TikTok, I'm going to go the opposite direction, obviously. And I don't care what kind of, shaming tactics or, insults come my way. Because this right here, this isn't acceptable on many levels. It really isn't. And that so-called father there, he knows it. As a man, I could tell. Because as you saw in that video, he was hesitant. He didn't give his son a warm embrace. You know what I'm saying? He didn't give him a hug, kiss, nothing. And in direct contrast, it was the women there, as you heard them, who were happy, overjoyed, and they were the ones consoling the son while he was crying, not the father. And even though the father had his shades on, I can imagine he was like, I don't want no one to see my tears of sadness, because that's what I think he was doing. He was crying underneath those shades. Now, look, I'm not going to go the whole racial angle here. It's just too easy. It's low hanging fruit. I'm sure all of us pretty much know that most of us know that the black community, in general, is a matriarchy. It unfortunately is. Not my family, but in general, it's predominantly matriarchy. But regardless of race, it's very important for a father to be in a child's life. Obviously, it very is important. And that father can't just be there just to be there. He has to be a strong man. One who stands on business. Is a great example, hell, a role model to their children. I mean, that's what you have to be as a parent. Because I highly doubt that in the case here that happened. I mean, look, just being present as a father doesn't guarantee your son will end up like this. No, of course not. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, look at Dwayne Wade, or hell, look at Magic Johnson. Now, Magic Johnson's son, whew, that's a whole lot of boy. But being a father who raised that child right, what it does, it reduces situation like this. It's all about probability compared to possibility. And of course, if God forbid your son ends up like this, yeah, of course you should still love them, as I would with my child, but I wouldn't condone it, by taking them to the prom. I'd be like, look, God gave me a son, so you're going to go to the prom as a young man. Now, when you're 18 and you're on your own, hey, look, and you want to transition, hey, that's on you then, Hey, you're a grown man at that point. But after listening to his mom here, I think we all know who really runs that household.
Yes, I have a son that is a part of the LGBTQ community. With that being said, I just basically want to talk about the parents that don't support or don't like the fact that they have a child that is a part of that community. Okay? I just want to say to you guys that no one is born knowing what they're going to be in life, or who they're going to be in life, or what feelings they're going to have in life. No one. So when your child is born and it turns out that they want to be in a same-sex relationship, or they like the same sex or whatever, that is the child that God gave you. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, that's the child that God gave you. God don't condone a lot of shit that we do. A lot of shit. But at the same token, he gave you that child. He gave you that child. You understand what I'm saying? And for us to be the ones that be like, oh, this is not the way you're supposed to be, and this, and that. Kids grow up, people grow up with the feelings that they have. Nobody can, just like the murderers, the thieves, it's so many things that people grow up and they become and they be, and we don't condone it and we don't like it, and that's not what they're supposed to be, but it's only for God to judge them. They have to take that up with their God. You understand what I'm saying? God is the one that has to take care of all of that. That's not on us. But my son, I love to death. Okay? I love to death. He is mine, honey, and I love him. And whatever he chooses is what he chooses. I'm not going to cast him out. I'm not going to say I don't love him. I'm not going to kick him out of my home. I'm not going to do any of that because God gave me him. You understand what I'm saying? God gave me him. I have my opinions about certain things that go on in the LGBTQ community. You understand what I'm saying? I do. And I don't condone all of it. I don't. But it's not my place to judge.
I find it so funny when people say stuff like, who are you to judge? When, lo and behold, everyone judges somebody or something every day. I mean, that's part of being a human, and especially women, which is very understandable. I mean, think about it. A woman's walking down the street or jogging past sunset, it's about to get dark. She may cross the street or do something to avoid being followed or come in close proximity of a strange man. It's understandable. She basically judged him there, but rightfully so, because she wants to be safe. A man is broke or doesn't have such a lavish lifestyle, so the woman ends up leaving him. Understandable. She wants to feel provided. Hell, I admit that happened to me when I was younger and broke. It didn't make sense to me then, but it does now. And she judged me at that moment, but it makes sense. So when a woman says foolish things like "don't judge," all that means to me is don't judge me, or don't disgrace or disagree with my stance on a particular issue. That's all what she's saying right there. Because at that moment, she knows that she will not be able to refute your standard or your evaluation of the issue at hand. And that's what men have to do. We have to be the arbiters or the authoritative directors of standards, especially within our families. Very, very important to do so. Because right here, the father, he should not have even entertained this spectacle. He shouldn't have. He should have been there for his son, before he even got to that point. Because think about it. Maybe his son wasn't crying because his dad was there for him that day. But maybe his son was crying because his dad wasn't there for him many days prior. Something to really think about. I think that's really the more of the issue here than the latter. But, let me know. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, if you was this child's father, would you take your son dressed up as a girl to the prom?